Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production, now available on Apple Podcasts, Podcast One, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Welcome to the Feel Good Podcast with Kimberly Snyder. My goal is to help you develop a holistic lifestyle based on our 4 cornerstone philosophy: food, body, emotional well-being, and spiritual growth. This holistic approach will help you feel good, which I define as being connected to your most authentic, highest self. And this is the place from which your energy, confidence, creativity, true power, and true beauty will start to explode. Every week, we provide you with interviews from top experts in their field or a solo cast from yours truly to support you in living your most beautiful, healthy, and joyful life. I'm your host, Kimberly Snyder, founder of Saluna, New York Times bestselling author, and holistic wellness, nutrition, and meditation teacher. Let's get started. Welcome back, beauty, to our Monday interview podcast. I'm very excited for our very special guest today. Her name is Megan O'Neill, and she is a senior editor at Goop. She also started Netflix, The Goop Lab, and she is a dear friend of mine. I love talking to Megan. She is a beautiful spirit, a beautiful soul. And today we get into topics about true beauty, what real beauty is, and how to connect to that confidence and the beauty inside of each of us. So I'm so excited to share our interview today. I love Megan very much. But before we get into it, let me give a shout out to our amazing fan of the week. And her name is Alexandra Lauren 79. She writes, "Simply lovely. I have found so much peace and balance in my life after implementing Kimberly's lifestyle. Food, body, emotional well-being, and spiritual growth are the cornerstones, and they truly do transform your life. I feel so much more connected to myself and to spirit. I feel balanced, which is something we don't often feel today. 10 out of 10 would recommend from the supplements and all." Wow. Well, Alexandra Lauren 79, I give you a huge virtual hug, my sister, my love. It means so much to me. Thank you so much for taking the time to write this review. And more importantly, thank you so much for being connected, for being part of our community. It makes me so excited and wow, it means the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And my loves, for your chance to also be shouted out as our fan of the week, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes. Truly from my heart, I have to say it means so much. And as someone who's on this, the other side talking all the time, just to get that feedback, just to feel that energy back from you really does fuel me. It means a lot to me. So thank you in advance. And also if you screenshot your review and you send it over to reviews@mysaluna.com, we will send you our free 7 self-love affirmation series where I give these little talks and also process for really helping to work with affirmations in a very empowering way to help shift beliefs, negative blocks you may have in yourself. You may or may not be aware of them. But when I started doing this is when I really started to write books and get things published and get things moving in my life. So as always, I love to share with you the things that have really helped me. So again, just screenshot your review, send it over there, reviews@mysaluna.com, and we'll get that to you for free. Also be sure to subscribe to our podcast. And that way you don't miss out on any of these wonderful interviews or Q&A community shows, which are on Thursdays. All right. All that getting said, let's move right into our interview today with the lovely Megan O'Neill. My gosh, honey, I haven't seen you in a while.
Been so long. You were pregnant last time I saw you in the office and you looked so great. You had like cascading hair and you were wearing a really tight dress with your bump. It looked so good.
I really loved, some people like to wear, the comfy floppy dresses. I like that too. But I'm one of those funny people. I loved being pregnant. I love showing the bump.
Yeah. I love seeing a bump. It makes you so happy.
Oh, and since then, my love, I've been seeing your amazing pictures with your little one. Tell us, how old is your child now?
So his name's Lagos, and he is 5 months old. And I was sort of worried, or I was apprehensive. I was like, I don't see how you can give birth to something and like love it immediately. You know, like it takes time for any relationship to develop. And I was worried about that, but I'm so into him and was pretty early.
Well, I think I remember the first time we met, because we met a couple times. I remember you were sharing that you were thinking about being a mom at some point. So even before you got pregnant. So then when I heard you were pregnant and now you're a mama, I was so excited to just see the arc of that journey. It's so amazing.
Oh, thanks. It's been really
5 months is like a nice, I don't know if you hit that sleep regression yet.
No,
you'll never
regression. Like it gets worse, you're saying?
Well, at first it's hard, as you know. And then my experience with my babies, they got to sleeping through the night. It was getting better. And then at some point there was a regression. And then I think 6 months for me was my low point of sleep deprivation, 7 months. And that's when we actually moved Mosey out of our bed because we were co-sleeping till then. Okay. And then it started getting better again.
Okay. And now he's a sleeper.
Now he's amazing. He's through the night. And similar to what you were saying, I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to love anything as much as my first son, you know, because that happens to him. Like, how could I possibly love anything as much as this child? But it's amazing how the heart just keeps growing and expanding.
That is the most amazing thing about it all, like the heart expansion.
Yeah.
And having like, I feel like I have more compassion for like any situation I hear about, you know?
Exactly. I think, you know, we all have friends that don't want to have kids.
Totally.
I have a lot of friends. So I don't think it's the path for everyone, but I can say for me, it has just taught me to love in such a different level and love myself more. And I also feel like there's been a lot of healing from my childhood through being a mom. And sometimes I say things to my sons and I think, oh, this is how I would have wanted to be loved in a way. So it's sort of like this funny cyclical, you know, thing that goes on.
Yeah, totally. You just learn so much.
Well, I get a lot of questions about this too, Love. I'm going to toss them back to you. Questions about, well, how do you balance being a mom and your work in the world? And for me, sometimes I think, you know, am I really balancing? I like the word flow, right? So for me, I kind of flow along in this nonlinear way. Right now, we're able to do this podcast because Mosey's napping. I just dropped off Bubby at kindergarten. So there's this sort of like dance that I feel like I'm doing all the time. How is it for you?
Yeah. I'm excited to reach the flow because it's still new. And I just went to work like 3 weeks ago at this point. Okay. So I'm excited to sort of carve out a new routine with the added whole thing of a baby, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole thing. If life starts to feel more full, but in the most beautiful way. And then, you know, it's interesting because I feel like things grow, things expand, but at the same time, there's some things that we have to let go of, you know?
But you know what people say that I'm really excited about? They're like, you have a kid and you become more efficient because you have to be. Like you have like he's napping right now. So you have to like do this now. And that sort of translates to anything. So I'm hoping I'll just get really good at being succinct at work and just getting it done, you know, in a way I haven't been before. Like I'm always daydreaming and meandering and maybe I'll be more focused.
You know, I have to share, Love. I had this like crazy thing happen where I had this book idea come down when I was 34 weeks pregnant with Mosey. And I thought, oh, this is the most inconvenient time. But then, you know, you just have to feel that inspiration. So I signed the book deal 3 days before he was born. And then 60 days after he was born, I started writing. And I get it. It was like in the past, I've written books and I'm like, oh, here's my creative process. I'm going to get things out. I'm going to flow along. And now it was like, here's the times you can write. So you write. So
and you could do that. Like you could make yourself be creative on command with that.
Well, with this book, Megan, is so different than my other books. This book felt like it wanted to be in the world. So it was a much more, there was so much flow in this book. That, you know, this efficiency as moms that we cultivate and we bring in and the focus, the heart grows and the focus grows, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So how are you taking care of Megan as a new mama? Again, just for all the mamas out there listening or all the busy people, you have a baby, you're going back to work. What are some of the practices that help you feel good in your body, in your well-being, mentally, emotionally, so you don't feel that burnout or the stress that sometimes happen when we just give all our attention to our babies or to our work?
Yeah, I'm big on the taking care of myself because then I'm better for him and for everyone. And it just feels good to take care of yourself, and not be dragged for the day. So I love exercise. I just love the way it fits into my life because if I don't do it first thing in the morning, I tend to not do it. So it's sort of like part of my morning routine. And it's such a good hack in a way because you do your exercise, you get it out of the way, and then it's just like a big check mark you can put like super early in the day. And it encourages you to, I don't know, be more productive, throughout the day. Like knowing you've like done one thing, it's encouraging. So I not every morning do I exercise, but it's a big part of my life and making me feel grounded and making me feel good and attractive. I still want to feel attractive. Okay. I was also wondering about that, because there are all these old world views of like, that are foisted on women and also sometimes perpetuated by women that you have to, you take care of your child and like nothing else matters. So I'm happy that I still want to dress cool and, want to look pretty. Like I love that. I love wanting those things.
I think it's really tough if we give away our whole identity into being a mom and then we lose that connection to self because then we start to feel so depleted and so drained. And then, I've hit those points as a mom and then I don't feel like I'm showing up in the way that I want to. I feel like I'm a shell of myself and that's not the energy I want my kids to see that I'm in either.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that almost that guilt. I feel like getting over like, okay, I'm going to take the time to do this walk and it's really important to me and standing for that. Yeah. So, we all have to figure it out along the way, but that time, that energy we put back into ourselves comes out into the family. It comes out into our work, into the world. And so it's really critical.
Yeah. And that's such a good point about taking the time for yourself because that sends a message that you matter and that what you want matters and that you need time,
So I think I saw a picture of you and I think you were doing Pilates or workout in your home and your baby was there. It reminded me how, with Mosey, with our baby, I take him on walks. He kind of just comes into my life. Or if I do yoga, which to be honest, like yoga asanas hasn't been much lately, he would just be next to the mat. And so when you say you work out in the morning, are you doing it sort of with baby? Have you modified your practice, or sometimes do you have Megan time separate as well?
Well, that's a big thing. You're forced to modify your practice because if you don't, it may just not happen. The working out. So, for instance, the other day, my husband and I take turns working out in the morning.
Okay,
he'll go on his run one morning, and then the next morning I'll do my Pilates routine. But he really wanted to go on a run. And I think he had a rough time with the baby the night before. So he went on his run and I was like, oh, I really feel like working out. So I put Lagos on my yoga mat and he was mesmerized. It actually worked. He was like lifting his little thigh roll legs and like almost trying to do moves, it looked like. And
oh my God.
I had to stop and breastfeed. So, it wasn't like my dream workout. Like it was shortened and it wasn't what it normally is, but I got in a little bit of movement and that just makes my day a bit better.
Exactly. I love this approach of it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Because I know as a recovering perfectionist, I think, it has to be this big thing or it has to be perfect. And that's one of the big lessons I've learned along the way. Now, being a mom is sometimes it's messy and it's not complete and it's done halfway, but it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. Yeah, totally.
And you mentioned your husband and sort of finding that balance of, sharing the morning workouts. What's happened with your relationship through having a child? Because I feel like, to be totally honest, like with John and I, with my husband, in the beginning, there's all this joy, you have the new baby, and then there's real life and there's the sleeplessness and there's stress and there's the, the little bit of butting heads. And then there's like a lot of communication and like holding space for each other. And we've learned so much, over the past, now Moses is 14 months. It's deepened our relationship, but there's been that, friction you have to work through for us.
No, for sure. Yeah. It changes your relationship. Like in the beginning, when it was like the real sleepless nights, I remember this one day, where we were just like, we were zombies and we were like short with each other, and we get along really well and we're super close. But it was a tough day. And then we found something to laugh about. And I remember just being like, find the humor, like whenever you can. And that helps me get through. And it has worked. Like we're good. Like we're still close. We're still loving doing this together. Obviously it's hard, but when you can laugh at anything, maybe it's like poop in a diaper, or maybe it's someone's weird approach to, something. Just the laughing helps, and not taking it so seriously.
Oh my God. I love that. I remember there was a time where I was trying to change Mosey's diaper. He had crapped his pants. There was poop everywhere. And I went down to pick up something and he peed all over my head. And I'd slept 2 hours and I felt so overwhelmed. And then I just laughed.
Yeah.
It helped move this energy, because the energy has to move, right? The emotions have to move. We stuff them down. It doesn't feel good, but we can, like you said, we can transform it to a more light experience, and then it doesn't have to be so serious.
Yeah. I think you have to sometimes.
So switching gears for a second, my love, I know you live in this, complex, multi-leveled world of beauty as well. And you and I have had different conversations about this. 4 out of 5 of my previous books had the word beauty in the title, because I'm so interested in what is beauty really, and just the different perspectives of it, how we start to really feel beautiful within ourselves. So I know you're a real expert in all aspects of beauty. And as you and I have talked about, routines, practices, the beauty that builds from the inside out is something that's really helped me connect in, because I didn't feel beautiful for a really long time. I felt like I was strange looking. And of course, like a lot of young girls, I picked on myself. I was always trying to straighten my hair. I was trying to wear makeup to make my features look different. Can you share a little bit, just a little bit about, your beauty journey from, past to present?
Do you think bananas are healthy? Think again. I'm Dr. Stephen Gundry, best-selling author of the Plant Paradox series, and on the Dr. Gundry podcast, you're going to learn the foods to eat and the ones to avoid to lose weight, boost your energy, and feel your most vibrant, active self this year. You'll also learn simple tips from the world's top experts on health and nutrition. Plus, you'll discover the truth about calories, how running could actually be hurting your health, and why fat won't make you fat. Subscribe now to the Dr. Gundry podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Because I'm Dr. Gundry, and I'm always looking out for you.
Hey beauties, I want to share one of the biggest secrets for health and wellness and energy and maintaining a slim, lean body is to consistently clean out excess waste from your body. It's not just what you're putting in, but making sure that you are releasing as much as possible from your GI tract, from your body, things that can stagnate, old waste, old toxins that can clog your body and make your goals, your wellness and beauty goals, much harder to achieve. So I have a product for you. It's called Detoxy. It's really amazing. It's basically nascent oxygen paired with ASC2P, which is the stable form of vitamin C that in clinical research has been shown to help prevent the very, very root cause of aging, which is the shortening of telomeres, which creates chromosomal damage in your DNA. So it's helpful in that regard. And it also just cleans out your system. It's amazing. It's not a laxative. It's not habit forming, but you take it in the evening and you'll find the right capsule amount for you. It could be 1, it could be 4 or 5. I personally take 4. You take it before bed, and in the morning you release more, so to speak. So it's really wonderful. It's really impactful. It will help you feel lighter, and all the benefits of cleansing your system, better skin, more energy. So you can check it out over at mysaluna.com. It's called Feel Good Detoxy. And you can also use the code wellness15 for 15% off all supplements and skincare, including our Detoxy. Again, wellness15 for 15% off.
Yeah. Well, what you just said about, makeup to change your features, my version of that was I straightened my hair, chemically straightened my hair for years. And because I wanted straight hair that I could fling back and, toss around like my white friends at school.
Yeah.
I was, for a while, I was the only Black person in my 40-person private school girls class.
Where did you grow up, Megan?
I grew up in Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I went to an all-girl private school, which I love. I had the best time. Those girls are still my very best friends.
Wow.
But it does something to you when no one else looks like you. And I didn't even realize it back
Totally.
then. But it really does,
It really does.
I was like, why can't I toss my hair like that? Why does my hair stick straight up? That's not as pretty. That was the narrative.
So I'm getting goosebumps because I grew up in a completely Caucasian town in Connecticut, and I'm half Asian. And, it was kind of like where you don't want to stick out. Every time there was a culture we studied in school, let's say it was the Pearl Harbor, the teacher would say, "Oh, Kimberly, aren't you Japanese?" And I'd say, "No." And then we'd study Native Americans, and the teacher would be like, "Aren't you Native American?" And it was all this attention. And then this, my sense of self became very warped. And when I said I tried to change my features, for prom, I was trying to make my eyes look more round. There was so much emphasis on how I looked that I started to get really disconnected to who I was. And then that, later translated into, it contributed to eating disorders and perfectionism and rigidity. And I think that's part of the reason, we go in to heal ourselves. The reason I became a nutritionist was to heal, my own food issues. And the reason I started thinking about beauty so much was because I felt so not beautiful for so long. And now I talk about, spirituality and meditation so much because that anxiety inside of myself didn't heal even when I got the food part. Yeah. I needed to go in. And so that's what I love to share about now. So it's amazing these real challenges we have. It sounds cheesy to say, but it's true. They become our strength later on when we can really sit with them and go inside and make peace with that and realize, these perceptions we have when we're young, a lot of it isn't true.
Right.
And we can start to reprocess that.
Yeah, they really do become our strengths. And then you're also compelled to share it with people so that they don't waste time going through, the things you went through.
So one of the things, my mom is an immigrant from the Philippines. And sometimes there's this immigrant mentality where you don't want to, highlight that. You don't want to remember the poverty where you came from. So my mom, all our parents do our best, but it wasn't like this exactly supportive way. I was talking about healing, yourself from childhood where oh, it's beautiful. It's okay. You're Filipino. It was just kind of fit in and meld in. Yeah. So again, as an adult, a few decades later, I've done this deep processing. For you, Megan, when you were oh, I wanted my hair to look like everyone else. Did you have that support from your family in getting really anchored into your soul, into who you were? Or was that something you had to heal as an adult as well?
Well, it's complex because my mom is the one who took me to get my hair straightened because, we're all living in this together, right? So She wasn't straighten your hair so you can be white, but she was living in it too and getting the messages of straight hair is pretty, So we did that together and it was a nice thing we did together. We'd go get our hair done. We'd go get our hair straightened and get our head dumped in chemicals that are terrible. Oh my God. But it was a nice thing. And back then it didn't feel like self-hatred. It felt like a nice beauty ritual with my mom. And only now looking back, do I see, what it was.
Yeah.
Why I wanted to straighten my hair. And I don't straighten my hair anymore. And I love my hair and I love,
I love your hair.
Love that it's puffy and kinky but yeah, back then I did not see it that way. And the world was also a bit different back then. I'm 36, but when I was 10, 12 doing this, there weren't as many standards of beauty as there are now.
Totally. Thank God it's opened up.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Does your mom still straighten her hair?
No, she doesn't. She absolutely doesn't. But it took her something to stop because she's 70 and that was what was beautiful back then. So old habits die hard. But no, she does not straighten anymore. She has gray, beautiful, like curly, kinky hair.
I love it when, the women that let their hair go gray. I think it's so empowering. It's shiny and silver and beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
I love that. So love, I get a lot of questions, and you probably do too, about comparison, because we live in this world of social media, and like there's so many images about beauty and, just everything, right? Like how cool we are, and if we fit in, if we're successful enough. And it's very easy to compare when there's like so much media in our face and these images are in our face. So how have you personally dealt with, I think people in general, but especially women, have a lot to deal with comparison wise? What has helped you stay anchored to Megan in this world of, there's just so much outward energy and getting pitted against one another for, in different ways.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think, I really genuinely love women. Like like if I see a beautiful girl or woman, I get like excited. And it's inspiring. I'm happy that they look beautiful. I don't, I guess, I don't have a competitive thing towards women. Mm-hmm. Like innately. I like them, and, we have a lot of, power to reclaim, and we really can't do that unless we support each other. Like we really can't. And, I've been really lucky to always in my career, or mostly in my career, work for women. My bosses have always been women, and they've always been people who bolstered me. And I know that is not everyone's situation. And I've always worked in media and magazines, so it's been a predominantly female environment.
Yes.
And it could have gone the other way, I suppose. But I've always worked for people who champion me and don't have that, oh, you're another woman jealousy thing.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel like I have a similar situation where a lot of our community is women, we're podcast listeners, and it's Saluna. Right. And it's funny because I have 2 sons. You have a son. So it's kind of that balance, right? Because there's so much female energy around. And in a way, similar to you, like I feel, I realize this now with all the introspection I've done as an adult, in a way, like I feel safer with women. I don't have a lot of male friends, I realize, which is interesting. And, we just keep working on our own self-growth and seeing what that is. But, my sons have taught me so much about that balance. And it's interesting, even in the mom community, I remember with my first son, I had a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of that coming up, like perfectionism. I go to mommy and me, I'd be like, do I have the right stuff in my, my diaper bag? Like, are people going to judge me? Am I like a good enough mom? Like, blah, 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 blah. But then you realize, we're all in this together. And if we show up, for me, what's been really healing is just showing up in a more vulnerable way. Like, hey, I'm trying my best, and, not trying to pretend, that I have it all together, that I'm perfect, because I don't. And that's helped me connect a lot more as well, and let go of that. Perfectionism is, basically another way of saying I don't feel good enough. Yeah. That's been really healing for me as well.
Yeah. The being vulnerable is really like the key to life, I'm finding, like why not just, be real and be not perfect? Like there's nothing else really,
Does that come easily to you?
No, it doesn't come easily. I'm like a low key perfectionist. Like I'm pretty chill. I'm like mellow, but I really do, not so secretly, like we want to just make whatever I'm doing great. And that puts pressure on you. And of course it's great to want to make whatever you're putting your name on great, but it can be really, it can be poisonous too,
Yeah, that like pushing deadlines, getting more done. How do you find that, we talked about self-care a little bit. How do you find that balance of when to say, okay, I've done enough today, or I've done my best, and not cross the line into over pushing?
I'm good at that. I'm good at stopping, because I think I really want to be happy in this life. Like we get one, and I get a lot of joy out of the day, and I don't want to be miserable. I want to be happy. So I sort of have some kind of innate mechanism that is like shuts it off. It's like, okay, you've tried your hardest. If this sucks, oh well, because you've tried your hardest.
I love that. Very healthy.
Yeah, so it is healthy. It's good. I don't get obsessive,
Yeah.
And when I do, I know when to stop it to like prevent harm. And I know when to stop and like go outside.
So one thing I found that has, helps people be happier in general is letting go of like little things, little annoyances, resentments, forgiving people or little misunderstandings. Do you find it easy for you to let go of stuff because your central goal is happiness?
No, I'm working on that. No, I hold grudges. I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm big working on letting go and forgiving people.
Oh my God. I feel like I I work on that. I keep working on it and also letting go of forgiving myself. Cause I'm one of those people, again, back to the perfectionism where I'm like, oh, I could have done this better or I really screwed up. And then I feel this intense pain inside and I know that affects my energy. So it's, I feel like the more I forgive myself, the more that translates into letting these little like misunderstandings go. Oh, and it's true. Life becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'll also share my husband and I are very different people. And sometimes it's like one of those things where opposites attract, but because we're very different, we have very different friends. Just how I say. Yeah. And okay, so when we all kind of hang out, like some of his friends, and everybody's like, love on the inside, but some of his friends, I'm like, they say stuff and it just kind of like, going
back to I don't love you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like think about, like the guy thing too. Some of these guys don't feel as like, quote, like safe to me, or they say things and it like dings me. And so I've really worked on like, okay, everybody is coming from a different place, but not to take things so personally, because I think we take things so personally, back to that seriousness instead of finding the humor, like, that just helps as well. It's not always easy though.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely, not taking yourself seriously and not, you just can't be so delicate, right? Like most of the time, I think people aren't trying to ding us. It's just a different perspective.
I feel like so much can get lost in translation over text, over email. I mean, you've worked at these like extensive, organizations like Lucky and, or Goop where there's many people. How do you deal with that in the workplace? And I'm sure it comes up like, oh, this is like a little misunderstanding and you have to keep working with this person or going to this meeting or, this person you have to interview. How do you navigate that?
Oh yeah.
That's tricky even as I'm saying it.
Oh, it's so tricky, right? Like communication. And I think you have to just be as honest as you can. Obviously, wherever you work, there's politics involved, right? And there's a pecking order and there's a lot to navigate. Yeah. But, I guess my advice would be just, showing up every day, doing the best you can, not being obsessive if something went wrong. Because, that Michelle Obama quote about she's learned the most from the like catastrophic mistakes she's made.
Yeah.
So you just have to be able to bounce back from a fall.
Yeah.
And like you said, not take criticism. Don't let criticism destroy you.
It's true. It's true. And one thing I've deepened this understanding of not taking things personally is you realize that, people are doing their best and people are projecting their own inner angst all the time, whether they realize it or not. And when I started to really understand that, I started to find more compassion to be like, oh, this person, let's say they leave a mean comment on your social media or they, say something at a meeting or whatever. I realized, oh, like it's really not about me. There's something going on inside of them. Otherwise that wouldn't project out. And I didn't get that when I was a teenager. And in college, I remember just, So now I feel a lot more, like just stronger in that way.
Yeah, it is important to realize that the context of what someone is saying to you, what their context is. Like I remember I posted something about Black Lives Matter last summer and this woman wrote some kind of nasty comment on my thing. She was Black and she was like, you're one of those people who thinks that Black people aren't treated, poorly. I don't know. She said something. Right. I was like, how on earth did you get that out of my message? and I am Black. Like it just made no sense, you know? So I DM'd her something I took a second and I DM'd her something not reactive because I wanted to understand where she was coming from. And it was very hard to do that because I was pissed and I wanted to be like, you bitch, you know, but I wrote something like, where are you coming from? And she had just misunderstood what I was saying somehow. And she had obviously come from a place that wasn't as diverse and, you know, freewheeling as Brooklyn, New York. I think she was from some little town in the South where there was a contingent of Black people who, like sort of didn't believe in racism. That's what it seemed like. And I was just like, okay, so that's why you said that. But the reaction was to just fly off the handle at her.
Yeah. And then you realize so many people don't have tools to deal with, you know, what I call moving energy. Because we all, you know, emotions are supposed to be energy in motion. And if we kind of stuff them down or we don't feel it and process it, it's just like, I got to get this out of me. I don't feel good. So that's where all the, you know, the mean comments on YouTube and stuff come from, or the food cravings. It's just like trying to get out. And, you know, I just say some people just don't have the tools.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so, you know, we continue our journeys and we keep finding more and more compassion. And you know what's helped me too, Megan, is before I go into the day, my morning routine, it's, you know, hot water with lemon. I take my SBO probiotics. I drink that smoothie so I have some fiber in my system, and I meditate. And even with the babies, as we know, like that's my essential time. I've started to get up earlier before they're both awake, which sounds crazy. I wouldn't have done this 6 months ago, but now I'm in a place where they're going to bed earlier, they're sleeping through the night. And it really helps me just feel so much better the whole rest of the day. I feel a lot more resilient. I'm like in my body, I'm in my breath, and I'm present. What, you mentioned working out in the morning. What are some of your practices? It could be morning or other times that just help you feel connected, grounded in yourself.
Yeah, the working out is great. I try to make myself a raw vegetable juice every morning. So I have a juicer that my mom actually got me when I moved out as a housewarming present. So I usually do kale, celery, green apple, lemon, and cucumber. And it's like, it's not delicious, but it's like, it really like, it's like, so like gets you going. And
the lemon sounds good to brighten it up.
And the apple brightens it up. Yeah. But you feel like you're doing something nice for yourself when you drink it. Mm-hmm. So I do that every morning. I try to meditate, although I don't do it every morning. Mm-hmm. But when I do, it does shift the day, but it's so hard for me to just sit still, like not grabbing for things, you know?
You know what helps me? And I had to kind of train myself to do this is I meditate before I get on my phone, because I'm on the West Coast. So by the time I wake up, there's already stuff going on. A lot of my team's on the East Coast. So I know if I check before I meditate, no, my mind is like, oh, I got to do this and this. Oh, I forgot to do this last night. So I really make it a practice. That's why I had to get up earlier to just meditate before I reach for my phone. Yeah. And that's not always easy, but that's, you know, a practical tip that's really helped me.
You do it in bed? Like you
do it in bed. Yeah. Older brother, who's now 5, comes in every night in the middle of the night, which, you know, we're okay with. He starts in his bed, but he comes in around midnight or 1. So he's right there. Baby now, knock on wood, wakes up around 6. You know, hubby's asleep and I'm in the middle. And so I literally sit up in my bed and I just do it. You know, here right next to me, you can see my little pod studio. I meditate when I can during the day and also in the evening. And I meditate down here. But now in the bed, I'm just like, whoo, spine up, get it done. Like you're saying about your workouts. Otherwise, it's probably going to perhaps get away from me the longer I wait.
What time are you waking up? If he comes in at 6 a.m. or wakes up at 6 a.m., are you waking up at like 5?
I wake up at 5 on the dot.
Oh my God. What time do you go to bed?
Ugh.
Like 7 p.m.
That's the thing about, you know, the relationship thing, because I'm not a screen person, right? Like I just have never been. I love books. You know, I write books, I read books. I just love to read. Whereas hubby really likes to watch stuff at night. He'll be like, come on, watch like 10 minutes of the, you know, Office rerun with me or Curb Your Enthusiasm, whatever these shows are. So there's like this interplay of like, I need me time. I need to read, but then I want to spend time with hubby. Yeah. So to be honest, you know, I try to get to bed by 10, but usually it's like 11.
Okay. All right.
Terrible. It's like I get like 6 hours, 7.
But you look so glowy and rested.
Oh, thank you, my love. I you know, I say this like it really comes from the meditations. I think when you connect in, I just feel so much energy when I tap in. And that's, I think, the main source of my energy these days.
Okay, you're convincing me to do it more regularly.
I love that. Well, and then the other thing we talked about, seeing all this stuff around, and we get to this, comparison. And the other thing is the world of beauty. Let's talk about this practically for a moment. It's easy to think, oh, I need a million different products. I need to buy more stuff. My skincare routine should be like 15 steps. You get a lot of stuff sent to you. I'm sure, my love, you're trying things, you're testing things, you're part of the lab and all this stuff. How do you maintain sanity with like more is not necessarily more? And all these women that feel like I have to spend my whole paycheck on new makeup or new products. Like, what do you do to balance that?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because we talk about this at work because, we write about, we sell all these beautiful, luxurious, a lot of them are expensive beauty products, but also you don't want to blast out the message, you need this to look good, because that is just dangerous and no one needs that. And it's not true, So we sort of present beauty as, we do present beauty as obviously being from the inside out, right? Like we all know that by now, but like skincare is beautiful and can help and can feel luxurious, but it really is about what you're doing. And so much more than whatever you're putting on your skin. Obviously that can help, but it's really about, you just have to keep in mind that if you have these beautiful, restful, rejuvenating habits, like, working out and eating well and moving your body outside and loving people, like that is how you are going to look the best. It really is. And skincare is a secondary thing.
I love that. That's the message we need to get out more and more, especially I feel like, the younger generations that are just on TikTok all day with all of the makeup. And speaking of which, one thing I've always noticed about you, love, is you do have this beautiful glowy skin, but I've noticed that I don't think I've ever seen you wear makeup.
Yeah. I'm like such a fake beauty editor, right? I don't wear makeup.
No, I love it. It's like, the times where I get my makeup done for like a shoot or something, a lot of makeup artists also don't wear makeup. I don't know if they're over it, but.
Yeah, no, I love makeup's amazing. It's an amazing option, especially clean, non-toxic, beautiful makeup. And I will do a little something when I have like a TV interview or something. Yeah. And because I am blemish prone. So I will do that. But in my everyday life, I never wear makeup. And you don't have to, do it if it makes you feel great, and just don't if you don't want to. It's like, I think people a lot of the time feel like it's a societal norm to wear makeup. I mean, like Alicia Keys, made headlines for not wearing makeup, which is crazy. Like that's the headline. That's news that someone's not wearing makeup, a woman. So it,
oh my God,
messed up stuff. But yeah, you do not have to wear makeup to look your best. You really do not.
I love that. Have you always had that deep confidence?
I don't even know if it's confidence. I think my mom has never worn makeup ever. And I think that's probably where it starts, like you soak in what your mom is doing.
Yeah. My mom always wore a lot of makeup.
It impacts you, right? And it's not a bad thing, makeup. Obviously, makeup's amazing. But I think when you see someone who you're really close to get ready every day and not do that, it's not something you think about as much from an earlier age. She did like slather herself in oils and lotion. And I can't leave the house without feeling moisturized. So that's
your whole body.
My whole body. Yeah. That's like my thing that makes me feel beautiful and ready to start the day.
Megan, have you ever done Abhyanga, like the Ayurvedic oil massage, and then take the shower? I'm really into that. I love that.
I love that too.
Yeah. I feel like touch too is so important. So I try to be mindful when I'm putting my products on my face of, loving touch, and it's a way to connect in. And of course, skin is so vasculated, our nervous system, everything is connected. So I try not to just slap it on, but I try to make it a little bit of a ritual, even though, I just use the few products we have at Soluna and it's just a few things. I try to do it with real care.
Yeah. And that is why beauty is so important. And that's one of the reasons why I love my job so much, talking about it, because you can really shift the day if you just give yourself a little time, like a little face massage or a little self body massage. It really shifts things and it makes you feel wonderful.
So is your beauty routine morning and evening pretty simple? You don't have to go into all the specifics, but is it, just, I see you, and just clean, beautiful, no makeup. I can't imagine your routine is that complicated.
No, it's not complicated. It's literally just like a face oil or a moisturizer. I exfoliate and a couple times a week in the shower. I use sunscreen every day, mineral sunscreen, clean mineral sunscreen. So yeah, it's not by any means 1,000 products. I have to try 1,000 products.
Yeah.
But I don't use this battering ram of stuff every single day.
Exfoliation, that's key, isn't it? We
really
all have to.
Yes. We all have different skin types and some people are more sensitive than others, but it really just brightens and boosts glow if you exfoliate a couple times a week to just get that dead skin off and debris. And it just, it makes your skin sing.
Well, are you doing like a physical exfoliate or one of those acids that takes off the layers or like a scrubber?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, and not even just to cause I work at Goop, but I love the Goop Glow Microderm. It's like a face polish. So it's a physical exfoliation and it's also has acids. But when I'm not using that, I use like a brush only sometimes to wash my face. But I like exfoliating more than just like a cream cleanser more often than not because it gives you that glow.
I love that. And I love that you can keep that up even being a new mama. Again, back to the balance. Got to keep the care going. And then we're giving all the love to baby and to husband and to job and everything. And it has to come back here.
It's important. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had any moments yet, Megan, where you're like, I'm kind of like losing it? I mean, we had those moments for a second, but just like a period, like I remember 6 months, it lasted about like a week or 10 days where I just went into like a really low, part of my, like the lowest part of my postpartum where I was just like, have you had any of those periods?
I have. Yeah, of course I have. Yeah. There was a couple of days where it was just, it's so physical, like lifting a baby and like bending down all the time. And it's like he's tugging on your boobs all the time.
Yeah.
And I was utterly depleted. And my mom actually took a month off work because she like never takes her vacation days. So she took a month off and is here watching him. And like, the help is so key. Like if you don't have your mom available, I hope everyone, I'm not everyone gets help obviously, but it's just invaluable having any kind of help.
It's true. It's true. I was just writing about the 40 days postpartum the Ayurvedic period for our pregnancy course that's coming out. And Ayurveda says that if you don't really take that time to rest and outsource things like cooking and cleaning, the fatigue can last up to 2 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what Ayurveda believes. So to be honest, I didn't really take the time I needed with my first baby. I remember 3 days after he was born, I was doing page proofs for Radical Beauty, the book I wrote with Deepak Chopra. And then when he was, a few months old, we were going on a press tour. And, I really pushed it. And then with Moses, with the baby, months before I blocked it out, I said, guys, for 40 days, I'm not going to talk to you.
No, that's great. But I feel like you have a lot of energy. So like the first time when you didn't take a break, was it because you didn't want to, because you felt good? Or like you felt the pressure to? I
felt the pressure. I mean, I was writing a book with Deepak Chopra and I felt like, okay, like I really have to show up. And I was even, nervous and he's amazing and he was fine. I was nervous to tell him I was pregnant, honestly. And like the whole team, the publishers. And there was like in my head, I was like, oh, that kind of being a first time mom and like, I want to keep going in my career. And I had to just find that balance. And then you realize, so much of that pressure is unnecessary. We put it on ourselves. So with second baby, I just completely put up those boundaries from the start. And that felt really good to me.
I did that too. Like I literally didn't check my email. I took 4 months off work and I didn't check my email once. And I actually didn't even care. I love my job and I take it so seriously, but I like having that time to just not care about it and care about, a new baby was crucial for me.
I love that. I love that. You have so much self-connection, my love. And just like you said, this easefulness about you, but you're, the divine feminine can be gentle and loving, but very powerful. And that's really what I feel in your energy. Thank you, my love, for sharing so much of your energy with us. I could chat with you all day long. I love every time we get to see each other. Hopefully
I miss seeing you. And thank you for having me. It's so fun.
So fun. Next time I'm in New York, I'll hit you up.
Yeah.
But before we sign off, love, where can our listeners, our beauties, find out more information about you and your work?
On goop.com. Check it out for lots of beautiful, clean beauty and articles on anything, sex, love, relationships, food. Yeah, all of it.
Amazing, my love. In the show notes, we'll also put your Instagram handle because I love seeing how you're moving through life with your beautiful baby and life. And it's very inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly. See you soon. Okay. See ya.
Yay! All right, my loves. I hope you enjoyed today's interview as much as I enjoyed chatting to Megan. Please be sure to check out our show notes for more information on where you can find out more about her and her work, as well as other podcasts I think you would enjoy, other interviews, articles, meditations, recipes, lots more over there on the site. I'll also see you on social @_Kimberly Snyder. Till then, take care and so much love.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL.